Hello, and welcome to Jeff Kagan Interviews. I'm Jeff Kagan. This is a podcast series where I chat with senior executives of interesting and important companies in our ever-changing and expanding industry. Over more than 30 years as an industry analyst, columnist, and technology influencer, I've been commenting on a wide variety of companies, products, services, and industry news. Joining us today is Pramod Gummaraj, founder and CEO of Aprecomm. Welcome, Pramod.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you for having us.
It's my pleasure. Today we'll be discussing Aprecomm, the upcoming NetworkX 2024 conference being held in Paris, October 8th through 10th. NetworkX is a global telecom and wireless industry conference that covers a wide range of high-profile topics, including 5G, 6G, FWA, AI, satellite, Wi-Fi, mergers and acquisitions, and much more. Pramod, I have several questions, but let me invite you to take this conversation in whatever direction that you think is important. So first, tell us about Aprecomm.
All right. Okay. Aprecomm AI is an end-to-end subscriber management platform for broadband service providers. This allows to improve the operational efficiency of these broadband service providers as well as deliver an ultimate experience to these end customers too. We started our operations in 2016. Primarily, our focus was towards enterprise Wi-Fi where the networks were more complicated. Slowly around these COVID timeframe, we have seen more and more shift to the homes becoming small home offices, where we saw a big opportunity there. Pivoted our solutions towards the residential markets. We have grown from 0 to 7 million subscriber base in the residential markets in the last 3-4 years, have around 20% of the broadband market share. And we have now started moving into the global arena. We have secured customers in US, UK, and LATAM, and looking forward for a rapid penetration into these markets.
Well, the marketplace is wide open. This is a good time to be moving your company into these markets. So the company's sounds like it's all about creating the best online experience for broadband subscribers. I've heard mention of Intuitive Networks. Can you tell us what that is?
So today there are a lot of intuitive devices around us. Even if you look at your smartphone, we call that as an intuitive interface or intuitive device. So it is able to really perform to the needs of what the user wants. You really don't want to know about how much of CPU utilization or the RAM utilizations on these devices are, but we just want to get things done on these devices, and they are able to really perform to those expectations of the user. We want to transform the networks into the similar fashion. Networks which are intuitive are going to understand the needs of the user, adapt to the needs of the users in real time, and they are just going to work as such. So ultimately, these intuitive networks are going to save time for everyone in this ecosystem. Time for these customers because it always works, no downtimes and no troubleshooting applications to really use, no complexity. Time for these service providers because there are no frustrated support calls, loss of customers because of the churn. It's saving and happiness that we are trying to bring across this ecosystem.
So how do you see your solution being integrated with all the different service providers?
So ultimately, experience is the service that ISPs are today bringing to the market. And we are here to improve that experience or enable these ISPs to improve that experience. This forms the fundamental piece. Take the markets where there are more fractured. Let's say if you look at Brazil or Latin markets where there are too many ISPs present or tier ones, tier twos, the only way for these ISPs to differentiate is based on the service, which is again the experience that they are going to bring in. That is how we become a central part in their delivery. And we help these ISPs to ensure that they are able to retain these customers. Happy customers is all these ISPs want, and we are trying to bring that to the table.
Okay. So tell me about your solution. How does AI and machine learning make network experience management more effective?
Yeah, when we talk about customer experience and end-to-end customer experience, there are two parts to that. One, in-home experience, the other is to the home experience. For various reasons, customers might be not happy with. And experience itself is more complicated, and it is more of an qualitative than a quantitative item. So how do you measure that experience was the first thing we tried to solve when we started this company. So experience involves like how quickly I'm able to connect to the network. Is it meeting the expectations of the user? And if it doesn't meet, potentially we are going to switch over from Wi-Fi to cellular, and we have a poor experience at that stage. Or it is to do with type of applications I am running. So as a customer, there could be multiple people inside a home, and each of them doing different things, different applications, different needs. And the network has to be able to support all these needs, be aware of what people are doing, whether it could be an Netflix that is running, or it could be a light traffic like emails that are running. The network should be aware of those elements. This forms the application experience phenomena. There could be always cases like where people are moving around inside the homes, and then you would see these choppy connections here and there happening, handoffs, multi-access point deployments. All of these things constitute to a kind of experience. What we did with AI was to kind of understand various elements that can really affecting this experience, baseline those systems, understand the needs of the user, how much they are off, used supervised learning models, unsupervised learning models as well, to see how we can overall improve this experience to the end customers.
Okay. So can you elaborate? Let me just turn this off. My phone is starting to ring. Yeah, I know. It's always these little things. So can you elaborate on some of your results and accomplishments so far with service providers and their customers?
Yeah. So one of the major things which subscriber experience plays around is with the churn for these ISPs. We are able to improve these churn by around 20%, reduce the churn as such for these ISPs. So that is able to give a big improvement for these ISPs. In turn, we are able to reduce these support calls, because happy customers are not going to really have too many support calls or the support call times. There is a 60% reduction in the support calls once we have our systems deployed in. There is another 40% in the support call times. There is a gradual reduction in the truck rolls you could see as the systems becoming more and more intelligent and intuitive enough. So overall, customer experience is actually driving the operational efficiency of these operators.
I hear you continue to use the term customer experience, and I'm so happy to do that, that you're focused on that, because we've gotten away from the customer being happy. We've gotten away from the customer having an easy experience, a good experience, and for you to focus on that will help the entire industry, evolve in the right direction. I understand that one of your strengths is the number of broadband devices that you've integrated with your software. So tell me why this ecosystem is so important.
So to deliver any of these things which we are talking about, CPEs or customer premise equipments play a vital role, because they are the ones which are inside the homes or the offices. Intelligence and awareness that we can bring into these devices is what is really going to drive one portion of in-home, in-office experiences as such. The other portions are about the devices that are present outside the homes, like switches and OLTs. If we are able to collect these data from various elements inside the network, correlate all this kind of data, and then look at what is the overall experience that is affecting the user, whether it is an problem that is to do in the network or it is a problem that is to do with the in-home experiences, makes a big sense. And for any ISP, if you have to achieve such kind of things, you need to have the experience intelligence that we are talking about to be across all kinds of devices that they have deployed so far. It could be the Wi-Fi 6, 7 devices which they are recently buying, or it could be the ones they have already deployed to. So this is where the hardware agnostic approach that we have taken makes more sense. Our solution runs across different types of manufacturers, different types of models, because if you really look at it, there are bunch of chipsets like Qualcomm's, MediaTek's, Realtek's, Broadcom's. And if you're able to get the solution up on all these chipsets, most of the chipsets are the ones which are used by these manufacturers, the common chipsets, you will be able to get a big spread across the industry. And that is going to drive this whole ecosystem.
That makes sense. So as we prepare to wrap up, what are your plans looking into the future? What are your plans for entering European and United States markets?
We have already secured the customers in US, LATAM, as well as in UK. Now we have started our operations in US as well, and we are aggressively looking at these US and LATAM markets. Potentially in another 6 to 9 months down the line, we should be looking seriously into having our offices as well into the UK countries. Primarily, the alternates are going to play a bigger role. We see that is a potential opportunity for us in the UK market. So we see that a great place to enter and then penetrate from there.
Okay. All right. So finally, Pramod, why is this NetworkX event so important to your European and US growth plans?
See, this is one of the largest events that happens in Europe, where people from all over the world are going to come in. The OEMs, the chipset makers, as well as these ISPs are all present here, associations too. So whoever are bringing value to this ecosystem are all there. And that is a place where we would also love to be there, interact with these people, understand the problems that are going through, what values we can add to this ecosystem, how we can really grow from there. So that way, NetworkX plays a vital role here for us.
Sounds like a natural. I'd like to thank you, Pramod, for taking a few minutes to be with us today. And I'd also like to thank you, the viewer, for joining us as well. If you would like to be a guest on Jeff Kagan Interviews, I invite you to get in touch with me by email, jeff@jeffkagan.com. Until next time, thank you and goodbye.